For the last 6 years of secondary school, your teachers have lied to you. Yes, they told you that exams are a test of how much information you can shove into your brain. They told you that those who study the most pages get the highest scores. This might work for WAEC, yes, but not for JAMB. Why? Because JAMB is not an exam. JAMB is a psychological puzzle. It's a trap designed by geniuses to make hardworking students like you look stupid. If I told you that every single hour you spend reading for JAMB is making you less likely to pass the exam, would you believe me? Now, because here is something that is going to sound absolutely insane. Those students scoring 350 plus in JAMB, they barely read at all. They don't sit with textbooks for hours. They don't spend time highlighting pages and lines. They don't waste their time making beautiful notes. They do something completely different that JAMB doesn't want you to know about, but I'll be exposing that in this video. Before I begin, I'm going to prove that to you right now with just a simple test. Think about the last topic you read in chemistry or physics or government or literature. You've spent 2 hours studying that particular topic. You understood that particular topic, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Can you answer a given question from that same particular topic which you read under 5 seconds? If the answer is no, then you didn't spend your time studying. You only spent your time reading. You just read, and reading is not studying for JAMB. In this video, I'm going to destroy every single thing you think you know about JAMB preparation. I'm going to show you why and how JAMB is not a test of knowledge. JAMB is actually a puzzle. It's a crime scene, and you don't prepare and solve puzzles and crime scenes by reading. No, you solve them by active hunting. By the end of this video, you are going to master the 5 stages of the detective method, and we are going from what? Stage 5 to stage 1. Stage 1 is the most important one, and the reason why I'm keeping that is that we save the best for the last. By the time we reach number 1, you are going to possess a cognitive cheat code that makes JAMB examiners predictable, and you will be able to predict your exam questions before you even go to your exam hall. Stay with me, and I'm going to teach you the secret they don't teach you in schools. Let's go. If you're wondering, I'll be like, why is he so confident with this thing? I am Ahmadu Bello, and I got 350 in my JAMB. I'm currently a medical student of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. With all this, you should know I know my onions, because this particular exam called JAMB, I've studied it and I know every single aspect that you should know if you really want to pass this exam. If you follow every single stage I'm going to be revealing in this video, then there is no way you are going to write this exam called JAMB, the UTME, and you will not pass. So if passing is the reason why you want to write this exam, and if you want to score high, then make sure you follow through the 5 stages. Now let's begin. Stage 5 is all about being a detective. Detectives don't know who committed a crime by studying about crime in general. You do not start an investigation by studying the history of the city. You start by looking at the bodies at the crime scene. In this case, the bodies are what? The past questions. When an average student wants to study a particular topic, let's say motion in physics, they open their textbook, go to chapter 2, and start studying that topic from Introduction. But a detective does the exact opposite of that. If I were the one, what am I going to do? Now, I'm going to go to my past questions first and pick at least 20 different questions from that particular topic. And then you are going to scan through them. You are not trying to solve the questions yet. No, you are profiling the examiner. You want to know what exactly JAMB cares about from that particular topic. What do they like testing? What is the examiner obsessed with? Now, you are going to notice something. Let's say for that motion, you are going to realize that what JAMB rarely tests you on the definition of velocity. But the questions on time of flight of a projectile appears every single year. JAMB is obsessed with what happens to the kinetic energy at maximum height. By the way, it becomes 0. Now I have a profile. When I finally open my textbook, I'm no longer reading blindly. I have a wanted list. I am actively hunting for the specific things that appear constantly from that particular topic. When you do this by studying what is actually necessary from that particular topic, coupled with what the syllabus require you to know on that particular topic from the objectives, you've cut your study time by 70% and you are going to increase your retention by 100%. Now we are in stage 4, and if you thought stage 5 was powerful, then wait until you hear this. Average students study the facts, they follow the rules, while elite students and the 350 plus scorers study on the exceptions. JAMB knows that 90% of students preparing for these exams, they are going to be cramming and memorizing the bold text in the textbook. So they are not going to be testing you on those things that they are a known fact and common that everybody knows about that particular concept. JAMB is not going to test you on that. Rather, they are going to test you on the exceptions. They're going to test you on those things that are kept in brackets, those tiny things that are written in italics. They are going to test you on what breaks that particular rule, that one thing that is different from the others. You don't believe me? Let me prove it to you. Now, in chemistry, the rule says all metals are solid at room temperature, right? But JAMB is not going to test you on that. JAMB is going to test you on mercury. Why? Because mercury is the only metal that is liquid at room temperature. Let me use biology as another example. It is a generally known fact in science that all mammals give birth to their young ones alive. So if JAMB wants to test you that which of the following is a mammal, sounds simple, right? But they're not going to be putting dog or goat in the options. No, they're going to be putting the duck-billed platypus in the option. And what is this animal? This is actually a mammal that lay eggs. It is the exception to the rule. When you are studying, or when you are reading, like I said, your brain is going to ignore this weird fact because it disrupts the pattern of how you have been taught to study. You've been taught to study to memorize what you've been given. Just like you garbage in, garbage out. You are not actually using your brain to study in a critical way. When you are active hunting, like I said, your eyes are going to light up whenever you see any word like however or except. Whenever your textbook says except, that is your exam question in disguise. So you have to highlight it or write it down. Very, very important. We are getting deeper now, and if you have not been paying attention, now it is time for you to pay attention because it is very, very important. Now, stage 3 is the trap profiling. Now, when an average student sees a particular formula or a particular concept, they are going to ask themselves, how am I going to use this formula to solve a question or a problem when I'm giving? But when a detective sees a question or a formula, they're not going to be thinking about how they're going to use that formula to solve a question. Rather, they're going to be thinking about how will the examiner use that same formula to fail them. So you must start anticipating the trap before you even enter the exam hall. Let's take a look at physics. Under gas laws, you have this formula for the general gas equation, right? When an average student sees this formula, they memorize it and they become happy. But for the detective, they're going to notice something sinister about that particular equation. It says that the temperature must be in the absolute temperature. It must be in Kelvin, not in degrees Celsius. So in this case, you have identified that you've provided the trap that they are going to the examiner is going to solve it, make a mistake on purpose, solving that thing using degrees Celsius and put that same option that he got in the list of options. So if you make that mistake of using the degree Celsius, you are going to see your answer and you are going to pick it. So if you try to predict the questions and the probable mistakes that you are going to make before the examiner even sets the question, then with that you are going to avoid it when you see similar question. You have to become aware of the fact that they are actually testing you. So you are no longer studying to know. That's a very, very bad thing. If you are preparing for an examination, you are no longer studying to know these things. But each time you are studying any particular paragraph, any particular line, anything that you want to store in your head, ask yourself, how will they test this thing I am reading? In what way will this thing be tested? If you know this, then you can prepare ahead of that particular trap, whichever way the examiner is going to twist it. Try to set your own questions. Ask yourself, how am I going to even test this question? So when you read, you must actively create the trap. Ask yourself and put yourself in the position of an examiner and tell yourself, if I were a wicked JAMB examiner, how would I twist this particular question so that I will ensure that the candidate fails the exam, ensure that the candidate fails this particular question. When you put yourself in the position of that examiner, then by the time you go into the exam hall, you become immune to that same trap that they want to set. So you are not going to fall for it again because you've already taken note of that same trap. For example, you're going to ask yourself, are they going to confuse centrifugal force for centripetal force? Or maybe are they going to give me diameter instead of radius? And then if I forget to divide by 2, I'm going to get the wrong option. All these probable mistakes that you are going to make, the examiner is certainly going to make those mistakes and put the options there. So if you don't become aware of these things, you are going to end up falling for this trap. So in this case, you are putting yourself in the position of the examiner every single time you study. Now we are in stage 2, and stage 2 is where the actual work of you learning begins. Now, as a detective, right, you've taken note of the crime scene and you've audited the crime scene. You've hunted the exceptions and you've profiled the traps. Now is the time for you to interrogate the suspect. And who is the suspect in this case? The suspect is your textbook. Passive readers highlight while active hunters interrogate. This is a modification of the Feynman technique, and this is how it works. When you finish reading a particular topic, or even let's say a page of that particular topic, what are you going to do? You are going to cross-examine your own brain. You are going to interrogate that particular textbook, and you're going to be asking yourself the questions of what? Why? Why is this thing happening? When your textbook says this is so, now ask yourself, your own brain, why is this thing so? Do you fully understand the concept of that thing? This is not all about you reading it and nodding your head, agreeing to the textbook and moving forward. You have to be inquisitive. You have to understand the reason why that thing is and why it was stated to be so. If you cannot explain it to yourself, that means you don't understand that thing well enough. If you ask yourself those why questions and your brain stutters, then the suspect has won. You have exposed a lie in your own memory. You don't actually know it. You just recognize the words. You must force the textbook to confess its secrets by explaining it in simple and clear step-by-step logical steps. If you can't explain that thing which you've read logically, step by step, to an imaginary 10-year-old, then you don't know that thing. There's no doubt about it. You don't know it, and you just have to go over it again to the point whereby you fully understand it, because JAMB doesn't always test you direct questions. JAMB is not going to ask you, what is this? JAMB is not going to say, this is no. That's why you see that students, even after studying the particular topic, and then you go and test JAMB past questions, you are still going to fail something that you just read. Why? Because you read it wrong, and that's why you don't have to read in code. You have to want to understand that particular concept. If you understand it well enough, then no matter how JAMB twists the question, no matter the concept they try to connect, because JAMB actually tests you. Let them see, they're going to carry question from this topic and that topic, and they're going to merge them together and form a single question. So if you just crammed, if you just memorized this basic fact, and you memorized that other basic fact without understanding, then there's no way you can link those concepts together to answer that question. So try as much as possible to know that thing and be able to explain it out loud in simple grammar, not just those big words that were used in them. Do you actually know the meaning of those words that were used? So like I said, if you can't explain that thing, then you are not ready for JAMB yet. Finally, number 1. This is actually very, very important. This is actually what took me from being just a smart student to actually securing a score of 350 in my JAMB, and I call this the matrix concept. Average students view the whole syllabus as separate blocks. Physics as one block, chemistry as another block, biology as another block, mathematics as another block, use of English as another block, and likewise every other subject are there. Let's say arts, now we have literature, CRS, government, and the others. But this is not so. The detective views them as a giant spider web, all interconnected in their various areas. The JAMB examiners, they know this, and they use it to create hybrid questions. That's why you're going to come across some questions whereby you can't pinpoint the exact topic or the exact yes, the exact topic in that particular subject that question is coming from. Because it is not just related to chemistry, it is related to both chemistry and physics. Some questions are not just related to biology, they are related to both biology and chemistry. All these things they are all interconnected. They are just like a big house with various rooms, right? The whole house is interconnected. And if one of the rooms starts burning and you don't fix it, the fire is still going to catch every single room in that house. So that is how every single thing they are teaching you is. They are all connected in various aspects. And if you know this, you can now utilize it to your advantage. When I studied radioactivity in chemistry, I'm not just going to stop there. I'm moving immediately to modern physics in what? Physics. Why? Because these are exact same topics, just viewed through different lenses. When I study the laws of thermodynamics in chemistry, you're going to cross-reference it with heat energy in physics. You're realizing that these topics are interconnected. These subjects are interconnected. And if you can know the connection between these two topics in these two different subjects, then you'll be able to understand them better. When you connect these subjects, you stop memorizing random and isolated facts and you start seeing the beauty and the laws of the underlying universe. Suddenly, you're no longer memorizing 100 different rules. We are understanding 10 core principles that can answer 1,000 different questions. You start to see the matrix and you start to see the exam like a playground. When you take a look at a difficult question, you're no longer going to panic, but you're going to smile because you can take a look at the strings that the examiner used to tie those questions together. The days of passive reading are over. You are no longer a student trying to cram pages. From now henceforth, you are a hunter. You are actively hunting for the connections, the traps, and the exceptions. If you execute these 5 stages and these 5 steps, then I promise you that your JAMB exam hall is going to feel like a crime scene which you've already solved 2 weeks ago. If this video completely shattered the way you view studying, don't forget to smash that like button so the algorithm pushes this video to rescue other students who are studying wrongly. And don't also forget to subscribe to this channel. Why? Because in my next video, I'm going to be telling you on how to answer JAMB past questions. Even though you don't know the answer to that particular question, this is going to save you a whole lot, because you're going to come across some questions which you don't know what to do. You don't know which formula to use. You don't know how to tackle that question. But there's a specific way to tackle those set of questions. So if you want to know that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because if you don't do that, then you might not come across my video ever again. And doing that is not going to cost you anything. You just have to tap on the button, subscribe, and that's all. Go to the comment section right now and type "I am a hunter." Stop reading and start strategizing. Make that your identity from today henceforth. And if you have the faith within yourself that this year's JAMB, you are going to blast it with a 100% pass, then go to the comment section and comment that's your target score. Don't forget to aim high, like I've always told you. Put that your target score, that's your target course, and that's your target institution. With faith, if you put it there with faith, then certainly you are going to get it. And I assure you that you come back to this comment section to testify. Stop reading and start strategizing. I'm David, and forever I'll be rooting for you. See you at the top.